Hi everyone. Excuse me, I'm getting a bit of the flu, so I'll be probably clearing my throat quite a bit. I've been asked to make a video about flops, pitches, punches, various shots from various roughs, sand, fescue, and so on and so forth. So I thought I would take this chance to make a video for you. Alright, let's just say a situation like this here. You obviously have a number of options. My first choice of option from 21 yards and up, or from 50 down to 21, is to punch. I'm going to try my best not to hole any of these, just so that I can show you. So that would be right around there on my putter pelt. Don't go in. I see. Basically would be a nice little tap in birdie or par. Alright, I'll teed off again because I hadn't teed off from the back tee, and I wanted to show you on the next hole how to hit a draw. So I've just put myself back on the hole, and they've moved us to the back pin location now. Again, my shot of choice here would be a punch. 27 yards, fairly easy, so I'm not going to show you that, just in case that I do hole it. But the option that you have got here is to hit a flop shot. Not my favorite shot, something I just feel completely out of control with. I can play it if I need to play it, and I play it from very specific scenarios on some certain of the courses. Well, basically the thing to bear in mind is that 21 miles an hour from right to left nullifies the fact that you come off the club face to the right. Okay, but to figure out your aiming situation, go into chip mode, come to reverse, so that when you click on your left mouse button, you've got the putting grid box. Now basically, in a no-wind situation, I come two and a half grid boxes this side. Okay, that basically then, if there was no wind, would be about where I would aim for a full power flop. It's quite important. If you're going underpowered, the wind effect's a little bit different. What you can also imagine here is, for your aiming, if there was no wind, so just imagine the pin lying down. If the flagstick was lying down on the green here, it would be, the tip of it would be about where I've got the aimer now. So as I said, 21 right to left nullifies the wind effect. So you're looking at 7 miles an hour per grid box. Okay, so it gives us that to start with. If you're looking at 7 miles an hour, well, not per grid box, but let's say 3/4 of a grid box, probably about more accurate. 7 miles an hour for 3/4 of a grid box, because we're only moving at 2.5 for the total effect of the flop. So we've got 9 miles an hour helping us over here. So we don't go 2.5 anymore, because we've got, if we had 7 helping us, it'd literally just be there. 7 miles an hour per grid box. We got 9. We've got 9 helping us, so that would be around about there. And typically this lands 28 and rolls a yard. No, this is definitely up a yard for sure, so that's 28, so slight little bit of a headwind. I'm going to play this just shy of full power. The main thing to see is the aiming. Beautiful. But I could have actually gone full power. This hole does play longer than normal. It doesn't seem that I got the wind or the aim right there. Now, one thing I must tell you all: if you're calibrating clubs and all the rest of that stuff, just never ever do it in practice mode, because you do not get the same results as you do in tournament. If you've got an unlimited tournament, go and play that, and dial in your yardages, play the tournament over and over, try shots from different scenarios. You'll get a lot more accurate yardages. So where's typically 2.5 boxes is no wind. We know that 21 I don't get. I mean, that to me is an absolute certainty. We still landed right. Okay, maybe it's not really. It's not 9 directly from the side. It's a little bit more. I think so. It's maybe only 7. Oh. Let's try this again. I'll hit this full power. Okay, so that's basically about. It's basically about right. So typically then, sorry, I'm just repeating myself here. Just take a bit of a break there, a coughing fit. So as long as you bear in mind that 21 miles an hour in a full power flop will nullify this coming off the club face to the right. We still landed a yard right in the last shot that I played. I'm just going to say that it's because I'm playing in practice mode at the moment. Because that should have been a little bit closer than it was. Alright, what do I want to do? See if I can get in some sand. Show you some of the options that you have from there. Okay, fantastic. Alright, harp on about landing yardages. Again, in scenarios like this, it's critical. It makes absolutely no difference to me if I land in a bunker, if I land in the rough. To me, it's just another part of the golf course. Some people are so absolutely obsessed with their stats, which might get upset with it. I don't really care. To me, this is still a birdie opportunity. Typically, how I would play this would be, I'll first play it how I would normally play it, and then show you some options. I just do not want to hold it. So, typically, I get it between 4 to 8 yards of roll with the lob wedge. We're looking at 24 up 4 feet, so we're looking at 25 yards. So I need to land this at about 18, 19, which should be about there. Slight helping wind, so we may get a little bit of extra roll. The point of the exercise, all I really want to show you is the yardage. Okay, I don't want to hold any of these because that defeats the object. So there you can see, it's one way of playing it, gets you within a yard. You can also play a punch in exactly the same place. You're coming out a little bit low, you might get a little bit more roll. And you need to hit slightly harder than you just did. It'll probably be in that region over there. Again, all we want to just see is the yardage. So you got your normal shot, your flop shot, your punch I should say, and we'll try a flop. Basically from Bethpage, or at Bethpage, or anywhere actually, really doesn't make too much of a difference. Sand shots are fairly simple. If you know your yardages. Alright, typically from the sand, with this club, lose about 2 yards. So 25, whereas it's normally 28. Should be around about there. Oh, I got a little bit more roll there, hit that a little bit too hard. But still, I'm not a massive fan of the flop, so I can play it if I need to play it. So there's your third option, which is the flop, and then you can also play a pitch shot if you want to. Same deal, costs you about 2 yards. And this typically lands 22 and rolls 4, somewhere around about there. Okay, so basically one scenario, 4 different shot options. Obviously you can't play a chip or any of that silly stuff. Not too sure there's anything more I can show here. Actually, yeah, what I will do, people use 3 feet equals 1 yard, which would mean I would need to add almost 8 yards to this, which makes it 112. Because I'm using a wedge, I only use 20% of that. So we were going to add 8. 23 times 20% divided by 3. So we're actually only going to add, no, sorry, 65%. What am I talking about? 23 times 65%. So that would now, instead of it being up 23, that little calculation is telling me it's up 14.95. I need to divide that by 3 to get to the yards. So I need to add 5. 109. Right, this club with neutral spin lands at 107 to 108. Got a very slight helping wind, so I'm leaving the spin where it is. Oops. Don't want to hit the flag and lose a ball. And this should be within a yard. Now, the important thing is if you added 8 and played that as if it was 112 instead of 109 like I just did, you'd be 3 yards long. So it's important to remember that on when you're using 9-iron pitching wedge, you don't use 3 feet equals 1 yard. Use 65% of whatever the elevation is that the game gives you. There's not really too much I can show you here. Bunk shots. What I'll do is I'm going to just pause this and get to St Andrews and show you some shots to get the best. Okay, so we're in a different situation now. Let's make sure this is plugged in. I basically just pitched us into this little bunker here. We've got 50-60 lie. Again, comes back to knowing the landing yardages of all of your clubs from this lie. My lob wedge lands at 33. My sandwich lands at 49. So that will be the club that we'll be using here. We have a very slight headwind. It's basically a crosswind, but it is fluctuating towards our head. Again, we're not going to allow the full 16 that I would from the fairway, which would be somewhere over there. And allow quite a little bit less, maybe half, just over half. And because this typically lands 49, with my 4 to 8 yards of roll scenario that I get, that's going to take us to 57, 56, 57, 55, 57, somewhere around there, which is going to be too far. So basically I just got to go slightly less than full power, but I do need to make the green. That's the important part here. It's the only risk when you play them under power, is you don't always reach the green, and that there, from a potentially nasty situation, has worked out absolutely perfectly. I couldn't have asked for anything better from where I was. But the only reason that worked out that way is just because I know my landing yardages. It's really as simple as that. And if you are serious about the game and you want to make some money in ready goes and all the rest of that stuff, then it's crucial that you know as much information as you can. Alright, cool. I've put us into some fescue. Alright, from 30-40 fescue with full backspin, my lob wedge lands at 49. Excuse me. Oh. And when I punch, it lands at 42. So I'll punch. Now we've got a helping wind, or a tailwind, and we're going to get rolled because we're coming from this fescue. So where I said the punch lands 42, we need to probably, well, that might be a little bit underpowered. or it could be spot on. So again, simple scenario of just knowing what you get from all the various lies. I'm going to see if I can't get us in some 50-60 fescue or some other bunkers. Right, I'm actually going to show you this shot purely from a wind aim perspective. I actually was wanting to get it just to go in the back behind the pin here to show you how a lot of people say not to use the chip, but it can be another weapon. So what I'll do, actually I'm going to show you wind aim and I'm not even explaining anything. Okay, so where that would be allowing 5 miles an hour, that would be allowing for 10, 15 and a little bit extra. Click early if possible, or not that early. Last thing you want to do in a scenario like that is click late. But the point of this hole specifically anyway, it's actually quite an easy hole to get the ball very close because of this little bump. You don't want to come short right, because then you end up all the way rolling back down. All I actually want to do is just, if I can, hopefully that's 20-25. Okay, cool. The chip with the Cleveland. Now this, obviously you're treating mainly as a putt. Down a little bit. Now typically this pops at about 6 and rolls a yard. So normally from 20-25, there's a sort of deduction that you need to make, or you would do if you're pitching and all the rest of it, 2 yards, 1.5 yards, a yard, something like that. I'm not going to deduct anything. I'm playing this at full power, full backspin. And if I'd have just got the aim right, I would have gone in. So you can see the chip sometimes, well, oftentimes very valuable shot too. Don't ignore it, because you can try flop from there, you can try pitch, you can do all sorts of other things, but absolutely unnecessary. You know, the last thing you want on a shot like that is to roll all the way back down the bottom of the green. Right, let's see. Well, I want to try and get ourselves in that bunker or in some fescue. Oh, that might just roll into the bunker if I'm lucky. No, okay, in the rough. What rough are we in? Right, so that's just 30-40 rough, same as everywhere else. Not really too much of a big deal. Let's see if I can get some 50-60, or even worse. And just want to get 30-40 because you've seen a shot from there. It's okay, great, 50-60 fescue. Now again, knowing your different landing yardages, my lob wedge only lands at 39 yards, so that's not going to be any use to us. My sandwich lands at 54. Now we've obviously got substantially less than that. My punch lands at 46 from here. Clearly I'm going down a little bit, got a slight headwind, so I'm going to hit this full power and I'm going to roll, but hopefully not too much. And as you can see again, 50-60 fescue, not scared of it. There's no reason to be scared of any lies on any of the golf courses. Key, just knowing so that would have been a birdie, and a very unexpected birdie from that fescue. Okay, I got lucky. I played my little approach to perfection here. This is the only other hole on the course where I use the flop shot, apart from the the third or the fourth at Congressional, whichever it is, from that 30-40 bunker in front of the green. The reason why I do, typically I always punch at this kind of yardage, 20-21, but the ball doesn't stop. It probably does if you use Nikes, but for me, I end up with a 2 or 3 yard putt. But the flop here works an absolute charm. Now, if you look at the wind, I've said basically that 21 nullifies what, that's where we would put it, 2.5 boxes. I said it's basically 7 miles an hour per box. So that's about a box, because I'm going to just call that 14 for the sake of it. Also, what happens here is when you land, you get a bounce to the left. With your flop, typically when it lands, it gets a bounce to the right. Let's see how we can do it. Would expect that to go in the hole most times. Okay. Very rare that I end up short here. I'm normally always a little bit long. I can take the mulligan. Fantastic. I'm normally always a little bit long because typically I'm either putting from this crap over here, or I'm about 23-24 yards further back, assuming I'm not at the back of the green, of course. And when I'm punching from 23-24, it's very difficult to stop. What's quite interesting there is it took a left bounce as I thought it might, but I also thought the flop, when it lands in no wind scenario, it lands to the right because of the way it's coming off the club face. I'm just going to show you the difference. I basically stopped stone dead there. If I took that up a little bit, nothing much happens. Different. So basically, with the Nike, what you guys typically experience, if I wanted to get actual serious roll here, to say I'll try and hold this, get the aim right, that is. Actually, a little bit further. Go in the hole. Okay, so basically this hole and one other are the only two places where I play them. Not that easy. Alright, people say that this, what I'm about to do, is not possible. Maybe the wording that they want to give it is not possible. In other words, a draw, because I can't change the ball in my stance, I can't open and shut the club face and all the rest of it. But I'm aiming here. This ball's going to end up around the corner over here. I've got no helping wind at all. If I want to hit a sort of a, what I would call it, just a nice gentle perfect draw around the tree, I'll click in the middle here. But I'm going to come a little bit earlier than middle to counteract that wind that's going against me. Whoa, not that early. I'll have to mulligan that. Now you'll see that this is one thing about this shot too, it does take practice to get right. You've got to get it in the darker blue area just to start with. If you don't do that, then you haven't got a hope in heck. So I aim for this tree in the distance here every time. I've got to get into the dark blue area. There we go. But before sensor. Now you can't tell me that's not curving. I mean that's curved substantially. And okay. All I basically did there was just click maybe a pixel too early. Otherwise I would have been easily on the fairway. I'm going to do it again. Same spin. I'll basically just go to about the tip. And I want to... That's more like it. Now there's perfect. Curving, that's going to be on the fairway. And no danger at all of hitting the trees. And anyone who says that ball didn't curve through the air is completely and utterly blind. Because that ball curved a ton. Okay, so my dear, here now we're going to try and hit a fade. What I wanted to say on the Beth Page one, generally I'll try to get into the centre of here, unless I have a wind that's against me. Then I try and come a bit earlier, as you saw. But if I've got a wind that's helping me and I still want to draw around that tree, I just click a little bit past the center, so I still get the same effect, just not as extreme as I did when I clicked this far early. Okay, well, we've got a wind here that's not helping us to hit a fade. We're going to be going against it, but the same deal happens here now. All I want to do is get in the middle, or a little bit past the middle. To curve perfectly. Again, that's curving through there. It's going against the wind, and I haven't lost any yardage. Basically 300 and whatever it is, middle of the fairway. No danger at all of getting anywhere near those trees. So there you've seen a draw now. Now you've seen a fade. Not too sure what else I can show you here at Olympic. We could try and go play a shot or two from a bunker, I suppose. Let's see if I can get into it firstly. So now this is this is ranked, so so it's champ greens immediately. Okay, we're in the bunker. 30-40. Now again, like I spoke about earlier, it's really clever to know your landing yardages for all your wedges from all the various lies. Now my Cleveland lands basically 44 yards from a 30-40 bunker, and then it rolls 4 to 8 yards. So the fact that I've got a tailwind and going to be landing on champ greens, hopefully. Let me just make sure that I can actually reach the green. Oh, that's going to be tight. Okay, but we got the mulligan, so we can. Don't allow anything like the same wind that I would. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to hit this quite at full backspin, just so I make sure that I actually do reach the green. So it usually lands 44 with full backspin, and we need it to get to 47, which is just managed. And there she rolls, and nice easy putt to save par. I'll actually show you the replay there, because I think I only just made the green, so there wasn't really too much option there. If I had to fit full backspin, I don't expect I would have. Yeah, I mean, I basically got the fringe at the front there. If I had to hit full backspin, I may have got a lucky bounce and rolled on. But the other option was to go with my my 85-yard wedge, but that lands at 63 yards. So now I would have landed at 3 yards past the hole, had a tailwind, and I would have come and rolled it off the back of the green. I could have basically tried to hit the ping slightly underpowered, but well, I think the shot that I played from there was basically the ideal scenario that I could hope for from there. And I'll head off, I think, to St Andrews now and try and get some shots from. There you go. Take St Andrews as an example. I have yardages basically. You can see here. So for the front pin, this is hole 11, as you can see from down here. I know that in various winds. So if it's the back pin that we just played, it's usually 180 yards from the tips. I have all various shots that I've hit. So if I've got a 20 headwind directly in my face coming at me from 12 o'clock, I hit a 5-iron, cover the V on the Callaway ball, and the result was great on that occasion. And I have this basically for all the courses. I mainly only ever use this on the par 3s, because I like to play the challenges and see if I can make the hole-in-one credits. Then what I also have is various positions on various of these greens. I don't have a very good memory, so I've used Windows snipping tool, and I've saved screenshots of various putts that I've had, so that if I'm in the situation again, you know, like this one here, I was long left, I was 12 up 1, I hit it at 11. It says T, that means I was on a tournament green. here I was long, I hit it at 14 on my 40 scale, and that was on seed for a champ green. And there's no note about, like the one here, it says this Mr. Ball right. So I know if I'm in this situation again, and I just look for something in the background like that church spire, and if I have a similar looking putt to this, I know that this putt, Mr. Ball right, on a tournament green, hit at that speed. So I would just move the aimer when I'm in this position again, tiny little bit to the left, and it gives an advantage. Here's another one, this Mr. Ball right, so I should have hit it straight. And I've got this basically, I got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these for all the different holes. Main reason I have it is my memory sucks, and certain holes, Kiowa is a prime example where you don't get similar looking breaks each time you get there. And you can see on this screen here specifically, I've missed quite a few. This missed right edge, this missed right edge. So when I get here again, I know exactly, in all these scenarios, I know exactly where to aim. And I'm just trying to find one where I actually write down the dots lie, because that's the one thing I do. If I get conflicting views and I don't know, I'm not too sure what to do, that's when I screenshot it. Just so then I can make a note, okay, trust front view putt mode, or trust reverse view chip mode, whatever the case might be. So it doesn't take long. I mean, if you've watched any of my videos, you see I play the game very, very quickly, probably too quickly sometimes. But if I'm in a big tournament and there's big money on the line, big credits on the line, I have just a few little bits and pieces that it's basically work and practice, so that if I'm in a situation again and I'm not sure what I want to do, I can have a look at the picture and go, alright, cool, my gut feeling's right, that is the right place to aim, and bang, away I go. And for the amount of effort I put in, I'm reaping the rewards for that. And there's no reason why nobody else can. I mean, it's not a difficult game. If you like to just wing it and haven't never got a clue where you're going to go and how far you're going to go, that's up to you if you want to play it that way. I like to play it a little bit more, where I've got a better chance of holding a putt or holding a shot, whatever the case might be. And that's just the way I like to play. And I'll show you quickly here now. I've got a little wind tool that I made in Excel. I'll basically just open that up for you. So I've got 156 yards to the pin. That's 31 wind. And if it was directly pointing at 6, that would be what I call 12. But this is basically between. So I've got to hit this at 179 yards. 6 iron's not going to do it. 7 iron's not going to do it, I mean. So my 6 iron with full backspin lands 176. I've got to land 179. So I'll just move that up to where 179 would be. Move the aimer. The wind's not bringing it around as much as I expected it to. There you can see 156. Basically, alright, I've gone a yard long, 2 yards long. If I had not allowed so much for the aim, that had a possibility it could have rolled in. I landed a yard or 2 yards short, and so I have that as well, which is a little tool that I've made for myself. I've made a little putting tool as well, and what you put in, you get out. That's one thing I will say for sure. People always in the forums complaining, oh, this did that and that did this and this did the next thing. If you don't have basic numbers for all of your clubs with various spin scenarios, how can you actually ever know if you got a what the fuck shot, just to call it like it is? You never can. So you really are just guessing. There's a few big name players that's yardage charts and things I've looked at, and I'm like, well, it's no wonder you get all these messed up shots, because your yardages are all over the show.